Well, hi everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and this has been a comedy of errors today. I have twice put up my this particular stream on my personal account instead of my DearMamaSal account. So uh, hopefully people will find us now, and I guess they will if they care to. So I just want to make sure that there we are. Jody, can you just paste the link for me just so that I don't have to go looking for it? And then I will put it up on Facebook and Twitter. For those of you who don't know, Jody is my admin, does a wonderful job. I'm so thankful to her on this Thanksgiving weekend. So happy Thanksgiving weekend for everybody in the States and anybody else who celebrates Thanksgiving weekend this weekend. Um, okay, so Jody's just given me that link. Whoops. Uh, and now I can post it onto other things. What a comedy of errors today, but never mind. That's life, right? And that's what we're going to be thankful for today is that we have the ability to be able to do this. What makes me laugh is thinking I'm very thankful for the fact that, if this had happened to me a couple of years ago, I wouldn't know how to fix this. So I am very grateful. Just one more notification, and there we go. All right, so we're going to talk about being thankful. Yeah, Jody's saying we'll get through it together. Yes, thank you for that, Jody. So hopefully the correct link is now up to everybody. And I for 7 years I've been broadcasting, and I've never had this problem of broadcasting on my personal channel instead of on my Dear Mama Sal channel. So obviously, Jody, I need you to remind me every week to check whether I'm on my name or Dear Mama Sal. So if you could just give me a reminder of that, I'd appreciate that. Obviously, it's a problem. So today I want to talk about being thankful because it is Thanksgiving weekend, and yet, it's pretty easy to be thankful on Thanksgiving weekend. Am I right? Because you're in the mindset of it, and you're going to be seeing people you haven't seen for a while, and presumably pretty pleased to see some of them, maybe not so pleased to see others. There's another point. But the truth is, the chances are you're probably pretty darn thankful. And what I wanted to talk about today was how do you bring that into your daily life rather than just at this time of the year? And I know we're getting ready for the Christmas season and everything else, but it's about how do you do this every day of your life and maybe every hour of your life? And I really wanted to focus on that. Now, a couple of things have happened to me this week that I thought I would demonstrate with your help. Exactly what sort of things happen. Now, for those of you who know, um, I'm in the process of selling my home. And I've been in that process of selling my home since May. It's a long time, longer than most people ever imagined, including me. So this a week ago, was it a week ago, about 10 days ago, I got another offer on my house that I accepted. And apparently the money side was fine and everything else was fine. There were a couple of conditions. And nothing too serious, didn't have a house to sell or anything. So I was pretty happy and I accepted the offer. Well, I've now heard that they've been struggling to get their financing cleared. Mm. And I presume that, I don't absolutely know it for sure, because they have until tomorrow, the 30th, to clear the subjects. And that means that they've got two conditions left on this offer. And once those conditions are removed, the sale is done. And they have until tomorrow to have a house inspection done and an evaluation. And I'm not sure if those sort of people work on a Saturday. So the chances are that this deal yet again, is going to collapse on me. And I think this is the fifth, fourth or fifth anyway, that has collapsed on me at the last moment within the last 24 hours of the offer time. And so you might wonder, how on earth can I be thankful for that? Because I'm trying to juggle what I can so that I can survive, waiting for this sale to go through. I'm not living normally because my house has to be in show condition, in sort of with 24 hours notice. And so you understand that life isn't normal for me. I'm living in this unreal sort of world. So let me ask you, what is there in this for which I can be thankful? What do you think? Can any of you sort of get because it's easy to think of the negative of it. It's not fair, and why don't they, sort out how much money they've got before they even go looking? All those things that we're inclined to think. And my sister even said to me, why don't you make sure that they're pre-approved before, they're even allowed to make an offer? But I talked to my realtor about that, and apparently that has to do with privacy issues, so that doesn't work too well here in Canada. But it's just like there are so many negatives I could be thinking about, but quite honestly, what's the point? That's my point. What is the point of being negative? What will it help by being negative? All right, so yes, Jody is saying, how about being thankful for learning new processing skills about the recurring situation? Yeah, I'm getting pretty zen on this, right? I'm getting pretty, how shall I say, calm about, okay, here we go again. Maybe, but maybe not. And so, yes, I must admit that it doesn't, I'm getting a little numb to it. I think Jody would be the right word, right? That's it. It's desensitized is the word. So the one thing I'm very grateful for and very thankful for is right at the beginning, I knew that getting an offer does not mean getting a sale. Getting an offer is merely one step towards getting a sale. The only time you have a sale is when all the bits are cleared away and now you are free knowing that you have a sale, that all the conditions have to be gone. That's called a clean offer. Now, the reason that's really important, and for which I will be very thankful when it happens, is I can go to my bank with a clean offer and get a loan. And it doesn't matter how much equity I have in my home. As a retired person, I cannot get a loan as easily as somebody who's working, right? And so here is the whole thing, that I need a clean offer to be able to go to the bank to enjoy my life. Now, how about this one? Do you think that being in this situation, tight money situation, lots of stress, has affected my health? Well, I'm very thankful for the fact that I had the right attitude about my health. I just got to prove it this week. I went to go and have what they call an A1C test done. For those of you who don't know, I'm pre-diabetic, which means I have to be careful about what I eat. And I need to keep my, what they call the A1C. Okay, this is a nice learning moment for those of you who might have friends who have this. Basically, you've got your blood running around your body, and there's a storehouse here into which glucose goes. I'm going to make this as easy as I can. But if you filled up your glucose storeroom, all right, it starts traveling around attached to your blood cells. Okay. Now, what an A1C does is it finds out over the period of the last 3 months how much sugar, glucose, you've got running around with your blood cells. And If it's over 7, or if it's even 7, it's not good. And I'm pleased to tell you that for 3 A1Cs in a row, mine has been 6. Yay! So what am I thankful for? Jody will tell you that with high stress, which this is, whether I'm keeping control of it or not, high stress will cause what? It will cause 9 times out of 10 overeating. Okay. Jody tells me it will increase something called cortisol. She'll give me the official definition of what that is. So that will go up, which will increase your weight. I know that. What else will happen? Possibly your blood pressure will be affected, right, if you're under high stress. Okay. So here's what I'm thankful for. I know these things. I am so thankful for that. So, yes, I have been overeating. I've even put on weight. But the good news is, and for which I am thankful, I have been eating the right stuff. And for some of you who understand what's been happening to me, I found out that eating sausages in the morning, 4 breakfast sausages, I make my own, 4 breakfast sausages in the morning, has been an incredible improvement to my eating. Why? It really stops a lot of cravings. I've been quite amazed with that. All right, the cortisol. Jody, what does cortisol do? Just give me a few words so I can explain that better. But what I do know, because Jody's been talking to me about this, is that when you go under high stress, your cortisol goes up. Now, I know that, and what it also does is it increases your weight. Now, I've noticed I've also retained a lot of water, which I'm working on as best I can. But that is also an important factor to know that when you're under high stress, this is going to be a factor. The last one, while I'm waiting for Jody to give me some input on the cortisol, the last one in terms of my blood pressure. I'm not 100% sure of what my blood pressure is, but I can tell you. There we go. Okay, so Jody's saying cortisol is a steroid hormone that regulates a wide range of processes throughout the body, including metabolism and the immune response. It also has a very important role in helping the body respond to stress. That would be your fight and flight reaction, right, Jody? So when you get into a stress situation, your body automatically arms you to either run like mad, like in the olden days, the caveman had to run like mad or he'd get killed, or he needed to fight what was attacking him. And so the body automatically has this hormone. It pumps you full of adrenaline. And, but basically, why does it put on weight, I wonder? Jody will let us know that. In the meantime, let me have a look at the blood pressure thing. I haven't got a blood pressure machine, but I can check my resting heart rate. Now, my resting heart rate has been steady in the sort of high 50s, 60s, low 60s all through this time. Some days it gets a little bit worse than others, but really the important thing is my resting heart rate calm? And, I share this quite often when I'm talking about this, because I do believe it important for people to know that this is my resting heart rate this week. Okay. And this is my resting heart rate for the last 3 months. You can tell which days there were deals going on. Okay, there was a deal going on here, there was a deal going on here, and there's a deal going on here. Isn't that interesting? But even so, if you look at it, they're all below 64. They're all in the sort of 62, 63 range. So the average is about 60, I believe. Yep. For the average is 60. Now that's pretty good for somebody of my age. I'm 72 in the shade here. And so, this is like really, really important. So if you think about it, what I'm grateful for, even with all this stress going on, I took my heart rate up to well into the hundreds yesterday doing something, but within 5 minutes, boom, actually 10, I think, it was right back down into the very low 60s. So that means that there's not a whole lot of funny stuff going on in with my heart. As far as I know, I will double check that again with my doctor when I have my heart rate checked, which will happen on Monday. So I'm very thankful for that I understand what stress can do. By the way, how do I keep the resting heart rate down? I make sure I do something creative every day, right? Because I don't want to overthink. How many of you know that the temptation is for me to sit here and that intellectual part of me wants to have a look at what's on the internet and homes that I could buy if this deal goes through. Da, da, da. I still do that, of course. I want to be aware, but I spend an equal amount of time being creative. Now, being creative when you're short of money is difficult. I'm certain you all know that. For those of you who are, getting ready for Christmas time, getting creative at Christmas time is um, difficult, but it's more difficult if you haven't got money. So, but if I concentrate on that, do you understand? I will be miserable and cause myself more stress. What I'm really thankful for is everybody who knows me knows what's going on in my life. Therefore, everybody who knows me will not be expecting a present at all. You know? And so, to me, um, if I get something to them, it is better than nothing. And this is where I'm very grateful for a number of things. I'm very thankful that I am creative enough to, for example, make very pretty personalized um, Christmas cards because I know people will appreciate that. I'm very grateful that in my garage, I have 2 boxes of little things that are possible to give people as gifts. I collect them and I just stick them in a box so that if ever a situation like this arises, I can go to that box and say, okay, what have I got in here, and what can I give? And I don't consider that a waste of space. I want to tell you, those little boxes that I've got, or they're actually 2 banker boxes. I have gone into them a number. I think I'm down to about 1 1/4 boxes at the moment, but I've been so grateful to that system for so long because I'll just be in a store and something will be on sale, and I go, "Oh, that's a really useful gift for people in an emergency." And so I'm thankful that I've got a mind that thinks like that and does things like that. So I also want to say that something really strange happened to me. Um, Suddenly, during this time, my sister, with whom I have had an ongoing battle for quite a while, has come out of the woodwork and is being very friendly and very helpful. And for that, I'm very thankful. And I'm trying to do everything I can to keep the conversation at a level where we don't clash and we don't get into, a major control freak type situation. Mm. Okay, Jody is saying to me the cortisol of which we spoke. Okay. causes weight gain, especially in the belly. Oh, believe me, I know that. The belly has 4 times the doorways for cortisol to act on our fat cells. Cortisol also increases our blood sugar level temporarily. Okay, so Jody's apologizing for taking time to get that answer to us, but Jody, I'm thankful that you get these answers. It's amazing. All right, so do you all understand? I am thankful. How many of you understand that I'm actually thankful to have the stress going on? Think about it. You know, if I didn't have any of the stress going on, it means that nobody's making offers on my house. So I'm very grateful. Oh, by the way, did I mention that in the middle of all this, my roof sprang a leak in 2 places? And so why would I be thankful for that? Well, you know something? As I discussed last week, I managed to find a really reputable roofer that came in and replaced a skylight and an air vent. Luckily, the second leak that I had turned out to be a cracked air vent. And so I was really grateful that's all that it was, if you know what I mean. And so I think it ended up costing me about $650, which I was not budgeted for. You do understand, I didn't have that money. I had to juggle a few more things to be able to find that money. But I was grateful it was only 650. It could have been thousands. And I was grateful that I found such a good person and that they did such a good job. I'm not joking. They came in, tore out the old skylight and the air vent that they've identified that the second leak was from the air vent. They showed me the crack. And then they literally had it replaced and all the flashing back and everything else in less than 2 hours. You know, new skylight, new air vent. And while they were there, they, knocked down a couple of nails that were beginning to pop out on my roof. It was just like amazing. And of course, it was in my beautiful bathroom, and where I've got that beautiful sink. And how many of you know I was fearful? How am I going to cover up my sink so if something drops, it's not going to get damaged? And the funny thing was, I realized, here's a tip for you. If ever you want to protect your wash hand basin from something dropping from overhead, I realized that my bath mats, I've got rubber on the bottom of my bath mats and they're thick. So I managed to put 2 of them over that and went, wow, that will protect pretty well. And actually, where they were over the actual sink and the granite of my, you can tell the things that I wanted to protect. And the amazing thing is when I went into the bathroom after they'd finished, there were a couple of bits of, I want to say dirt type stuff, but when they were shifting it, obviously part of the shingle or whatever, got disturbed and that came down. And that's all that there was. But I was still glad that I had protected both my sink. But I was thankful they did such a good job. Does that make sense? Hi, Nyasha. Good to see you. So I was very thankful. And so I'm thankful for the fact that, yes, I have learned to deal with this level of stress at a whole new level because of what's going on. Now, do I really want to relax and enjoy, the rest of my life? Yep, but can I do it right now? Not yet. But I still can be thankful that I've got a beautiful home and that I'm still in it. And, and that even that I know where to go in the garage, because I never dreamt 6 months ago that I would be still here, getting ready for Christmas. So, hi, Gary. So, I'm very grateful that I packed up the things that I did and labeled them properly. Can you imagine that? It's like I packed up all my Christmas stuff and everything, but thank goodness I labeled it properly because I didn't want to unpack all my Christmas stuff, but I wanted to give my home a Christmas feel. So, my Christmas tree is up and it's actually looking really nice. I've got a picture of it, but it really looks beautiful, especially at night, which is when I really love my Christmas tree. And I put, little garland type stuff over my mantelpiece and up my staircase. And there's a little Christmas tree at my front door where there's a window. But I'm not overdoing it, but I just wanted there to be the feel of Christmas. But if I hadn't packed well, I wouldn't have been able to find those boxes quickly, which I did. So I'm very thankful for that. Very thankful. It looks even better now. I should go and take another. No, don't worry. Oh yeah, I'm going to take a quick picture. All right, hang on a sec. And so, one of the things that you will notice is okay, there it is. Um, that I haven't been able to put that red skirt out the way I would normally put it out, ready to put presents underneath it, because I have a robotic cleaning machine. And I had to think about that. I needed to have containment of it so that Clarence the cleaner didn't gobble up the red skirt. All right, but here's what I did. I took the picture, obviously without the chair in the way. And one of the things I did for my sister was to write to her and thank her and let her know and ask her if she could find her ornaments. And she was quite surprised because over the years, my sister has given me a couple of ornaments. And I wanted her to be able to see them. Okay, so this heart is one of them. It's really beautiful. I wanted to make sure she knew I appreciated them. Oh, I've covered up. That's unfortunate. Maybe I've got pictures of them here. No, I've already downloaded them to my. Never mind. But anyway, there were 4 different ornaments that she has given me over the years, and I wanted to make sure she knew that I loved them and valued them, and that they were on my tree even today. She probably gave them to me 10, 20 years ago, over 3 different Christmases or 4. And I just wanted her to know how much I appreciated them. Thank you, Kerry. It's interesting, actually. I have learned that it is a process, and I'm thankful for this experience. I literally, when I decided that I didn't want to listen to the roofers banging and crashing and thinking about what could get damaged. I'm certain that makes sense to a lot of you. I didn't want to have my focus there. And I knew, I don't like noise. So banging and crashing around my roof was really an issue for me. And so I thought, what can I do to distract myself? And I decided, while they're doing the roof, I'm going to get the tree and start putting it together. That's That's what I thought. Start putting it together. So step one, because I do things in steps. Um, Thankfully, I am still capable of getting the tree down from where it lives. Um, and I literally got the tree down on my own without having to wait for somebody to help me, because I have it at a level that I can manage it. Again, I'm thankful that I think about where I store things in my garage, and I know that I'm going to need that tree out every year, and I know I'm going to probably want to get it out on my own. So therefore, I think it was just above my head height, so I could pull it out like this, balance it on my head. I'm thankful for having lived in Africa. One thing you learn about living in Africa is your best balance point is your head. If you're carrying stuff, if you're carrying a chair or whatever, carry it on your head. It's amazing, how much easier it is. And there's a tip for the day. So anyway, I literally pulled it out and just rested it on my head until I got the whole thing out. Then I took a step back and then I could bring it down. And the other thing is, do any of you have a problem with the box in which you keep your Christmas tree? I found that the first year it closed beautifully when I unpacked it. And then, when I had to put the tree back in again, it didn't want to close quite as well. Do any of you relate to that problem? But I found the answer. I bought some industrial, what's it called? Velcro. I bought some industrial Velcro and I put one sort of section about this long down one end and another section at the other end. And now I can just literally Velcro shut my Christmas tree box. Works really well. And so, there's a bit of Velcro on this bit and the bit that flaps over, there's a little bit of Velcro there. And by the way, this has got quite a nice length to it. So, depending on how badly I pack the box, I can still get it in there. So it's a really good hack and it works really, really well for me. So the interesting thing, though, and the thing I'm thankful for was that I thought to do that, even though it wasn't even Thanksgiving yet. I thought to do that because, surprisingly, I went down, got the tree, brought it back upstairs, unpacked it, put it together, connected all the connectors, uh, got the star on top of it, got all the lights working. By the way, mine's already a pre-lit tree, so I like that. I don't have to worry about trying to string lights on it. It's already pre-lit. Really recommend that. And as some of you know, and in case some of you don't know, because it's important, if you are short of space, this is half a tree, right? There is no back half to it. And I want to tell you that is the best investment. I bought it after Christmas, probably 10 years ago. It's a great time to buy a new tree, by the way, is after Christmas. I bought it after Christmas and it was at almost half price. And it's absolutely beautiful. Let me see what people are writing. Nyasha's saying, I love man-made ornaments, so much more sentimental over the store-bought ones. Interesting. Jody's saying, last year a friend of mine sent me 2 ornaments that my mom had embroidered in 1984 and gave them as a gift to our neighbor. She knew it would be sentimental to me to have something that my mom made. Isn't that beautiful? Tears in my eyes on that one, Jody. Um, and Nyasha's saying that, oh, Jody, that's so sweet. Yes, isn't that a really nice thing to do? And that's a really good thought, actually, to think about presents that you've been given. And if ever there is a death in the family or whatever, think about, do I have anything that that person gave to me that maybe their son or daughter would treasure more than even I do? And you have the joy of gifting it back to them. I think that's a wonderful idea, Jody. And from the response that obviously you had, it's a good thing to do. Would you agree? Mm. Jody's saying, I cried when I held them. You see? So that's a really good thing to do if you have, a death in the family somewhere. Think about that. The other thing I was really grateful for this week was out of the blue at 4:30 in the morning, somebody I have not heard from in 3 years sent me a message on Messenger. Now, this is not somebody I know to be a morning person, that much of a morning person. So that struck me as a bit strange. So one antenna went up. But never mind. I decided to write back and say, good to hear from you. A bit surprised it was so early in the morning. And then I got an answer back. Okay, this is why I want to share it with you because okay, I'm going to need to do it on my own computer. I got an answer back that struck me as weird for this person. I've got to find them again now. Okay, so the answer I got back. Oh yeah, so I wrote and said, the first thing was, "How are you doing?" And that was at 4:55 a.m. So I wrote back later that day when I read it, "Fine, thank you. Wondering why you thought of me at 4:55 a.m." And being me, I wrote nightmare question mark. Then I got an answer, and listen to the answer. I'm doing pretty great, very happy and excited. I'm enjoying my life with my family without thinking of anything too stressed. By the way, two was incorrectly spelled. Thank God, have been relieved. And you? And I read that and I went, there is no way Gary talks like that. So anyway, what I did was I wrote back a sort of nondescript answer. And then I got this one back, which said, good to hear that. And more so, God has helped me through International Finance Corporation, awarding money to some lucky set of women. And I'm going, oh, okay, I got it. So his account's been hacked. So what I did is I immediately wrote to Gary and let him know you might want to change the password on your Facebook account because you've been hacked. And obviously blocked that person. So, I'm very thankful for the fact that even at the first thing, it was like 4:55 in the morning. There's no way Gary would send me a note, but yeah, who knows? And then the second bit was like, no, that doesn't. And but by the time he sent me two different messenger messages with the word God in it, I went, that's definitely not Gary. Now, it isn't that Gary isn't a God-fearing person, but there are an awful lot of things that Gary would use twice in two messages in a very short space of time. But I didn't ever hear him use the word God twice in a day, never mind in two consecutive messages. So I'm very glad that I'm savvy enough to realize that and immediately, took action. Um, Now you might say, why did I even reply the first time? Well, I replied the first time because it could have been him. Right? So the first one was a bit of a warning. The second one was a red flag. One more to confirm. Yep, that's it. Boom, done. And so, this is like, I am grateful that I am that aware. So I know that you probably all have had a wonderful Thanksgiving, those of you who celebrate Thanksgiving at this time of the year, because, we Canadians do it in October, so we're different. But what I heard one of you say, I'm trying to remember whether it was Lauren or Kerry or somebody, that it should not be called Thanksgiving. It should be called Carb Fest or something, because the number of carbs available to you are just amazing. And I was thinking, that's a great way of thinking about it. But again, I'm very thankful for what Jody's taught me about eating because it is possible to have carbs. I have carbs on Sundays. Absolutely. Um, if you, uh, it was Lauren. Okay. Thank you, Jody. If you balance during the week, all right. I have a personal thing, for example, I think you all know that I've always had a very sweet tooth, which is why I'm pre-diabetic. And so I have this new thing in my life, which is if I can get my blood sugar down to 6.5, I'm allowed to have some chocolate. And am still eating Halloween candy, people. And I've now learned that that's a really good thing for me to do at Christmas as well, is to buy myself a box of, you know, I'm thinking maybe shortbread or something that I really enjoy and normally would consume very quickly over the Christmas or make some. Um, and actually put it in my downstairs fridge because it's out of sight, out of mind. And but if I really deserve to have a piece of chocolate, I know where to find it. The other thing I have, and I was telling Jody about this, and I'm thankful for this hack as well, is that I buy chocolate in blocks. What is it called? Confiture, Jody? There's a word for that. Where you actually buy it in a solid block. Um, and the reason I do that is if I'm making something dessert wise, and I can just literally shred a little bit of chocolate on top. It makes it look great and feels decadent, but it's a very small amount of chocolate. Um, so to me, these are all things for which I'm very thankful right now that I've learned these things. And Jody, big thanks to you because you have taught me so much that has made such a difference to the way that I do these things now. And by the way, for those of you who heard, I am making my own sausages. I bought a little silicone sausage mold, and it makes about 5 or 6 hot dog type, like breakfast sausages, not the fat English bangers, but like breakfast sausages. It makes about 6, I think, at a time. And what I do, just so you know how easy this is, I literally put a little bit of leftover meat that I've got frozen into my blender with water, by the way. I'm going to tell you how I do this because it's really easy to do. So I put in about a cup of water. I throw in meat. I throw in onion. I throw in celery. I throw in some carrot. I throw in good spices, good for me spices like turmeric, black pepper, a little bit of cinnamon because I know that's good for you. Couverture. Yeah, that's what I thought it was called, Jody. Thank you. Yep. Anyway, so I put all those good spices in, and then with the water, I blend it all up into a mush, and it looks horrible. I don't mind telling you, it looks really horrible. And then I strain it. All right, I just put it into a strainer and let the liquid drop out of it. And now what I have is a sausage mixture. And I just pack that into my little mold and put the little mold top on top of it, put it in the oven at 350 for half an hour, covered. And then after half an hour, I take the top off and do the last half hour without the top on it, so it browns the top. Now, you might wonder, why do I cook it for so long? The reason is I want to get a lot of the fat out of it. I know it's still going to have fat in it, but I want to get most of what I call the extra fat out of it. And it's amazing how much comes out, in fact. And so then when I've cooked it, I put it on paper towels, pat the excess fat off. Normally, I will end up with probably this much fat at the bottom, It is quite amazing how much fat there is in meat. And then I let them sometimes I eat them immediately with mayo. Mayo is a good fat. I found out. I love that. Mayo is a good fat, so you can have that good protein fat. So, and then what is amazing is that will keep me from wanting food for hours. And I also have an extra 4 always ready in case I get another, big need for food, so that I can have a second one. And so I'm very thankful that I found this. Now, being who I am, I also bought the sausage casing and made some sausages with the proper sausage casing. Have any of you ever tried that? I know Jody has. Um, the reason I say that is I'd like to tell you what the difference is for me. It is doable if you haven't got the machine, because I don't have the machine. What I did is I soaked the casing, as they call it. It comes very dry, and you sort of soak it, and then it becomes a little more stretchy. And then what I did was I used a funnel, and I put the bottom of the funnel through the casing, held it very tightly. Oh, by the way, I sort of fed the casing up at the bottom of the funnel, on the straight bit, and then held it, and then literally pushed down some meat, pulled this down a bit, pushed down some meat, pulled it down a bit, and until I made a long sausage, and then I started making the links. Um, Funny enough, easier to do than I thought it was. But you know something? I have to say that my sausage mold maker, quite honestly, is much easier, and there's very little difference. If I crisp up the outside of my sausages in the mold maker, they taste nearly as good as a store-bought one. And in fact, in a way, they're even more crunchy. And I have even tried, for example, adding an egg and a little bit of almond flour. Quite honestly, you don't really need that. If you do a good job of packing them, you can actually make quite a nice sausage that does hold together fairly well. And even if the sausage doesn't hold together very well, I'm very thankful for the fact I know it doesn't matter. It's still going to help me. Jody is mentioning that my blood sugar numbers have really been helped by it. Let me tell you, I was averaging I had a really bad week, at the beginning of the month where I was in 8.5, my numbers were up. And then I started making the sausages about a week ago, and my numbers dropped right down into the 6s, and I've been as low as 6.4. This is in Canadian measurements. So, but basically they were here and they have just plummeted like that, my blood sugar. And that has allowed me other little indulgences for which I am grateful. For example, did you know that Cool Whip, Jody, did you know this? That Cool Whip has next to nothing in carbs. That was new to me. First of all, mayo being okay and good for you, but it was new to me. And the fact that Cool Whip actually has next to no carbs in it, I'm going, wow, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, have a look at the nutritional facts of Cool Whip. And literally it's got like very little, and then by the time you've played the numbers, it was like, wow, that's worth having. You know? So anyway, be great. Thankful. Anybody have anything they want to say they are thankful for this Thanksgiving weekend? Let me know now so I can talk about it. But in the meantime, do you understand that it is so easy to have a negative thought and it is so easy to turn it around into something for which you are thankful? So that's what I do. Every time that little devil comes into my mind and says, well, it's another deal that's going to fall apart and you've worked so hard and it's not fair, I go, aren't I lucky to have this problem? Immediately. Now, as soon as I feel that negative thought, I'm just correcting it, going, aren't I lucky to have this problem? Because when this deal is done, I will have enough money to live the rest of my life in some level of comfort. And how many people in the world can do that? How many people in the world can say that? And therefore, I am so thankful. And I will wait as long as it takes for this house to sell to the right person. And yes, it's a struggle trying to work out how to balance money, but aren't I lucky that I have, people that care about me and friends and so forth that will make sure that I can survive it. So, that is what I want you to be aware of. When, we've got people in our lives that are constantly complaining. How many of you know those people? You know, right? Right? They are constantly, complaining about aches and pains or, somebody didn't do things right and da 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 da. Da. And what happens is they make themselves sick. And that's why I remember talking to you all about Louise Hay. It is really interesting to study what Louise Hay has to say about certain negatives. I look at Jody and all the things that are going on in her health. How often do I hear Jody complain about anything? Very, very occasionally, I will hear that she's got a fibromyalgia attack. That's when all your nerves are on edge, and very, very painful. Very occasionally, she will let me know that. And the reason she does is not to complain. It means because she's going to have to take some serious drugs and she probably is going to pass out for the rest of the day. That's why she tells me. So, to me, what I'm so thankful for is that Jody has such a great lesson to teach us all, regardless of what life is throwing at you. Stop complaining about it and be thankful for what you have. Jody's saying, I am thankful for so many blessings in my life every day. My faith, Lionel, my circle of friends that bring me joy every day and allow me into their lives. Yes. I'm grateful every day when I wake up. I'm very serious about that. Why? Because it's possible I could choke to death at night, with sleep apnea. So I'm very grateful every day that I wake up. I go, oh, I made it through another night. That's good. I am grateful for so many things. I'm grateful for the fact I'm learning how to be a whole lot tidier than I used to be. I made a heck of a mess in my craft room yesterday, but before I went to bed, I vacuumed in there and I tidied up most of it, not all of it, but most of it. So if I suddenly got a call to do a showing, it would take me no more than about 15, 20 minutes to get it back to normal. And that would mean moving, machines and stuff. I had my cutter out, and that when I'm doing a showing, I put that in a completely different place. So now the other thing, Jody, and anybody else that has hip problems, hip rotation problems. Jody, I am so thankful I went to go into the craft room and that I insisted on using that other computer. You remember I was struggling to get the program working on the other computer? I had to, by the way, completely uninstall it and then put it back in again. That's how I got around this problem. But here is the interesting thing. What I had forgotten was my chair in my craft room is a bowl chair. Whoops. Do you know, guys know what I mean? It's a bouncy ball chair. And Jody, I realized after sitting on it for about 4 hours yesterday and the day before that to keep balance on it, I'm inclined to put one leg over here and the other leg over here. And then, all the time you're moving like this and it's shifting your weight with the ball. And I realized it is incredibly good for my hips. It is phenomenal exercise because after 4 hours, I stood up and went, my hips don't hurt. So I'm going to spend more time on that bouncy chair. All right, let me see what people have said here. Jody's saying, you were instrumental in helping me develop that skill. So my daily joy has increased by that lesson. Complaining can only make anyone ill, literally. Yes, that is true, I believe. And that's why I am very thankful that I read Louise Hay very, very early on in my life, back in my 20s, and I understood what she was talking about. If you are sick and tired of something, you are going to be sick and tired. If you've got back problems, 9 times out of 10, you're not supporting yourself in the right way, right? Financially, physically, mentally, da 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 da. It's amazing how it all links in. Nyasha's saying, because of the broadcast, I now realize that I'm grateful for the struggles I go through because they help make me stronger. Also, I realize that they're teaching moments. I used to see them for what they are. Yeah, this is, if you can see that now, Nyasha, your life for the rest of your life will change. If you can see that everything is there to teach you something and to give you, it's like you didn't pass stress management 101. They'll keep giving you more stress until you get it. Once you get it, you go, oh, I understand that now. Then you get stress management 102. And you're going, again? Why do I get more? Because it's teaching you something. When you get it, and so it goes on. Jody. So Jody's talking about the bouncy ball. Isn't that incredible? It's just like I can feel, what I can feel, Jody? My back is looser today. And, when I do this, it doesn't hurt. I'm literally aware that that was really good exercise. And rather than doing a lot of things I've been doing, I need to be sitting on that chair every day. And so starting this week, I am not going to be doing the computer here in my bedroom during the day. I'm going to the office and use that computer just so I can spend that time flexing my back and my hips. Yeah. So Kerry is saying, yesterday was a good day for me. Everyone asked about Mike, and I had to explain he was out of state. So I let him know that he was missed. What a kind gesture. Well done, Kerry. That is excellent. And he'll be back Sunday, I believe you said, right? Nyasha's saying, some days are better than others. Yeah, that's called life too, Nyasha. I'm also thankful for my goddaughter, my mom's recovery through surgery, my family, and more. You see, all this happened to get you ready. If you think about it, Nyasha, if your mom had gone through the surgery before you learned all the lessons that you've been learning this year, I wonder how you would have coped. I wonder whether in the space you were in before you joined us, whether you would have felt capable of being a godparent. Or would you have listened to the other people who told you you weren't capable? Right? And you see, I think if you look at it, when you were ready, the goddaughter thing came to you, plus your mom became vulnerable and you had an opportunity to show her that you are more capable than she thinks you are. So I see two incredibly positive outcomes. Not that anybody wanted your mommy to go through an operation. I understand you know how I feel about that. But what I want you to see is that it is all part of life teaching you how to cope. And so I'm very, very thankful, as you probably gather. I'm thankful for all of you. You know that, hopefully. And I am thankful for the opportunity to be able to share little things every week with you and hoping that it makes more sense to you. It was said that when you rise in the morning, give thanks for the light, for your life, and for your strength. Give thanks for your food and for the joy of living. If you see no reason to give thanks, the fault lies in yourself. How many of you can see that? If you cannot find any good to be thankful for in your life, then you have a problem. Whether it's I am thankful that my eyes open and close and moisturize my eyelids open and close and moisturize my eyes. You know, I'm grateful to be able to see. I might not see very well, but I am grateful for that. I am grateful for what little hearing I have left. All right. I am grateful that it is difficult to get out of bed at my age, but boy, I'm grateful I can still do it. Right? All these things, add up to your day being a better day. Kerry's saying, I've been quiet. It's been quiet with him gone, but I'm enjoying the alone time, honestly. Yes. And that's not a bad thing, right? To enjoy alone time is not a bad thing. W. Clement Stone, and I'm going to be doing some more work on his, he was one of the people I read a lot when I was in my 20s and so forth. He said, if you're really thankful, what do? You share. How many of you have found that with what you have learned while we've been all helping each other on Dear Mama Sal, how many of you have found that you were able to help other people with that learning? How many of you have paid it forward in some way? Anybody got an example of that? Because if you have, that is the greatest gift you can give, all right? Jody's saying, I have deep gratitude for all of my friends. They are so close to my heart every day. And I think of them as family, including Sal and Lauren. Yeah. But that makes sense because in a way we are, all right? We're all an extended family. Right. And Kerry's saying, well, technically I'm not alone. Good. Right. I've got pets to occupy your time and to snuggle with. If Dora's still the snuggle bear that she's always been. Nyasha says, no, definitely not. Throughout this entire ordeal, my mum's surgery, the work stress I once had, and now doing house chores, etc., I never once had any depressed feeling that I used to have before. I am thankful for that. I really am. And Nyasha, I am very thankful that you can see that you are able to control your mind. Right? And that it brings you a happier life. And for that, I am so thankful. And I thank everybody who's part of Dear Mama Sal that has been here and helping support Nyasha through the last, few months while she's been with us. That I'm pretty sure every one of you can hear the difference in the way she thinks. And that, your support and your kindness has helped her see there is more to her life than she ever thought. All right. So Kerry's saying that Dora doesn't snuggle as much with her as she used to, but it'll do. Yes, she's pretty good. It is said that every morning, this is Shamik. more, said, every morning I wake up and think about 10 different things I'm thankful for. I continue to spread that love throughout the day, always visualizing, meditating, and growing. When we are thankful, we are constantly growing. I just want to tell you something I've just seen on the news. I think you might have heard there was a stabbing attack in London. I've just seen on the news there's been one in the Netherlands as well. So I'm very thankful I'm not living in the Netherlands or in London today. So be careful out there, people. All right. It's important for you to stay professional and keep working. I'm thankful for everything that's happening to me. You see, I'm realizing that all this stuff around the house is here to teach me stuff, right? It's teaching me how to be more organized, how to keep control of my life, even though it's out of control. There's so many things about selling your house that is out of your control. But I realize that I can control some of it and I do have rights. For example, officially, they say that you're meant to give a tenant 24 hours notice of doing a showing. I refuse to do that, except in critical situations. I insist on giving Yvonne 48 hours. Why? I would like that. And I think there have been two where I have gone back to Yvonne and said, it's really important that we do this with with only 24 hours notice. Is that okay with you? It is your call. But I let her know it's important to me that we do it. And then she gets to choose. She still has the call. She has the right to tell me no. All right. But you understand, I am thankful for the fact that I know just because my realtor wants to give her 24 hours notice, I don't have to. I can give her 48 hours. And by the way, I also said, I don't want to be doing showings on Fridays or Sundays for obvious reasons. I'm doing broadcasts. But what I've learned is I can do showings on Fridays and Sundays. I can do it between 2:30 on a Friday until 6. And on Sundays between noon and 2. So you see, I learned I can make that time available if I need to. Kerry's saying, oh, sorry, Jody's saying, paying it forward. I practice little random acts of kindness, like paying the toll for the car behind us on a highway, or making a blessing box of food staples for a family in need. That is all part of your health, I believe, Jody, right? That you do things like that. Kerry's saying, I'm grateful to have the day off so I can be here. I've needed this. Well, Kerry, a big hug. Niasha's saying, I realize I wasn't ready before, but now I'm worth the help of God. And with the help of God and you guys, I love you all so much for helping me see through the trials that I go through. So thanks to all of you. Hi, Jamie. Happy Thanksgiving. You know something, Niasha? Thank you for trusting us. The thing that I really was aware of when we first met you, Niasha, is you had a lot of reason not to trust people and not to trust that they cared. And one of the things I've always said, I used to say it when I was in management, you cannot demand respect from people. It has to be earned. I've had bosses demand that I respect them. And I used to just roll my eyes, and go, yeah, right. You don't get to demand that I respect you. You need to show me why I should respect you. All right. The same as I've always said, don't tell me you love me. Show me that you love me. All right. By what you say and what you do. It's show me that you love me. Jody's saying, Niasha, I'm tearing up at seeing your progress. I'm so happy and proud of you. I couldn't have said it better. One of the greatest things for which I'm thankful about doing Dear Mama Sal is we have so many wonderful success stories. Yeah, Carrie's saying she snuggled up under the quilt that Pat made her, and for that I am happy. All right, I can't wait. You know, to get. Funny enough, I packed Pat's quilt away very early on in the packing process because it was important to me. And when I was packing up silver and brass and stuff like that, the horse brasses and things, when it was like, now what else do I value? The quilt. I packed all those things up so that if anybody stole anything, it wasn't going to be stuff that was important to me. So thank you, Kerry. I am thankful for you reminding me of the quilt. Okay. Right. So Niasha saying, what did you see in potential wise, right? In terms of potential, because I often hear that you have great potential. I think, I don't know what other people see. I can only speak from my side. I see that you have a real gift for learning, and you have a real gift for patience, which actually is surprising because when I first met you, you had first of all thought that you actually didn't have patience, but I realized as I got to know you better that to be able to do the things you have done, you have great patience, right? You are great at learning things yourself. Go finding the information or getting help to find it. But once you find the information, you learn very quickly. So I think you do have great potential in terms of continuing to learn. You remind me a lot, Nyasha, of my friend Yvonne downstairs. She didn't have the greatest. She had a high school education, but not a lot more. And the greatest gift that she ever got, I think, was a smartphone. you know, because boy, has she educated herself between her laptop and her smartphone. And she, like you, um, you know, wants to learn and therefore takes the time to find out what she wants to learn. I think it's wonderful. Roy T. Bennett said, be thankful for everything that happens in your life. It is all an experience. Agreed? Jody, question. Some of you may know Jody, has mobility problems and she has a wheelchair. And so um, getting to doctor's appointments and everything else, very crucial for her and very difficult. And the interesting thing is that Jody is at the beck and call of the taxi companies or transport people as to whether she gets to an appointment. She can be on time, she can be early, everything else, and then the cab doesn't come. And she has to have a special cab because of the wheelchair. Now, Jody, what I wanted to ask you, what has these cabs letting you down taught you? Because I've noticed a real change in your mentality about stuff like that happening in your life. And I just want to see what you have noticed. Kerry's saying, I only have a high school diploma. Um, I think be grateful that you have a high school diploma. By the way, Kerry, um, that is not, in my view, that is not a benchmark to how smart you are, right? The reason I say that, Kerry, is because I think I've met incredibly smart people, you know, incredibly successful entrepreneurs who didn't even complete high school. Hi, Erin. How's your new place, honey? Um, who never completed high school. So you're ahead of them, and they turned out to be multimillionaire, business people. So, it's like I think that a lot of these things that that we hold stock on. What did I hear about Richard Branson? All right. Interesting. There's something in his background. I can't remember what it is now, where you're going, wow, he didn't even do so and so, and yet look at what he's achieved in his life. You see, you think more important than the piece of paper that you got from school, more important is what have you done with your life, and then what have you done for others in your life? All right. Erin's in the room. I was thinking, Erin, one of the most important prayers at the moment for me is that you find somebody else to to be able to do your hair if the lady who has been doing it cannot do it anymore, because I know how much joy getting your hair done brought to you. So I'm hoping that you are able to find somebody to do that. Benjamin Disraeli, the British politician, said, never take anything for granted. All right. So Erin's saying the new place, honestly, it's not what I expected it to be, but I'm going to give it some time and see if I get used to it. It's new. And how there's only one other client here who does talk and doesn't get out of bed. Okay. So it's a change. See it as change, Erin. Erin, I couldn't see a window in your room. That worried me. And tell me there's a window in it. All right, Jody said, it has taught me the importance of having a plan, B, C, and D. It's funny. Benji always says that, and Dougie, they both tell me, and Cisco, they all tell me that was the most important thing I ever taught them. Always have a backup plan. All right, seeing the bigger picture and trying to change the entire booking process for medical vans and giving myself the gift of not overreacting. Yeah. And also, for example, the appointment for the biopsy. If plan A doesn't happen, I need to get to that biopsy. What is solidly in place to make sure I get there? Right? That one was not I can delay it for another week or two, right? That was a really important thing. And I was really pleased at the way that you handled that, Jody. Erin saying, I can't even get out of bed because my chair. Wow. And I gather it's not fixed, right? And I'd be stuck in a bedroom, but I should have known what I was signing up for. It's strange and quiet. Yes. So, Erin, see it as a new experience, and what is it that you need to learn from it? All right. How can we support you, Erin? That's a really important thing because you give us so much. I would like to make sure that do you need a bit of extra support at the moment just to keep your spirits up a little bit? I would think probably so, right? Just a bit of, and they can't do hair and they aren't very girly. And she's saying, and the lady today asked me why it was so important that my clothes match when I got dressed. Well, it's important to you. Good for you, Erin. You stick to your values, lady. All right. So Niesha's saying, yeah, Niesha's saying also not to be so emotionally invested in a situation which doesn't benefit me. I'm never going to enable anyone again. Well, you probably will, honey, because you're human. All right. And lots more. I can go on and on. Yeah. You know something? It's not that you're never going to do it again. What's important, Nyasha, is you can see what's happening and you can feel the sucking noise, when people try to suck you into their stuff, and you can now distance away from it a little bit. It all takes practice. There is a window on the other side wall from my bed. Oh, thank you. It's the other side of the wall from your bed, so you can't look out of it. All right. All right, Erin, let me think here. My mind is busy processing. So there's no way to move the bed so you can look out of the window. Mind you, it depends what's on outside the window, right? Oh, Erin, think. Any way to put a mirror somewhere so that the light, so that you can look. Okay, I'm trying to think which way. So you can look maybe against your wall and then it reflects what's outside. You can see the sky and stuff. Anybody else got any ideas? But a well-placed mirror could, if it's high enough, um, it could show you. You can do this, Erin, because you're a smart cookie. You just need somebody to hold the mirror at different heights so you can see what you need and get a big enough mirror, and you could bring the whole of the outside in without moving the bed. Just a thought. Thomas Secker said, he enjoys much who is thankful for so little. All right? If you want a happy life, be grateful and thankful for everything. I don't care how little you have, be thankful for it. I don't care how bad your relationship is, be grateful that you have a relationship. Right. So Erin is saying, yes, it would be nice for my to my people how to make time for me and make sure I don't go crazy. Nice thing is that when my friend's about 11 minutes away from me and my cousin only lives about 20. Okay, so so you got people close. But how, what best support can the Dear Mama Sal peeps give you other than to say hi to you every now and then? Reba McIntyre said, I have a lot to be thankful for. I am happy, healthy, and I am loved. Basically, those are three pretty good things, right? And by the way, you might not be loved by the people you wish loved you, but other people love you. You see, don't discount the people. It was really interesting. I decided that even though I had all this stuff going on with the house, I made a plan to go to the movies with my friend Marnie on Saturday. And she asked me, what movie would you like to go and see? And I instantly thought, I want to go and see It's a Wonderful Day in the Neighborhood. Why? I am sure I'm going to come out a better person. How many of you, has anybody seen it yet? I just feel that you cannot watch that without becoming a better person at some level. And I was pretty sure if I went to go and see that, I'd have lots of input in terms of what it taught me and what I needed to be reminded of, and that I could share with you guys. Ah, okay. So Erin's saying that yesterday somebody brought her a plate of food from her family. Yay. I am so pleased that you got some Thanksgiving dinner. It sounds to me, Erin, like they need your organizing skills. All right. How many people does the place accommodate? Because if there are only two of you in there, you get a chance to shape what goes on. And I can see you doing that. They need a manager like Erin. Albert Barnes said we can always find something to be grateful for. And there may be reasons why we ought to be thankful, even for those dispensations which appear dark and frowning. Erin, you see, I knew it. Erin, you never disappoint me, honey. Never. Erin's saying, I need to get to my friend, and My friend and I were just talking about that yesterday. I was thinking about moving my bed so that I was beside the window. Probably not as good idea considering that it's so cold. Um, you know something? I have my bed next to the window, and that's what a good duvet is for. You know what I mean? Because I know it's colder where you are. No, it's not that much colder where you are, Erin, than where I am. I think I'm colder where um where I am. But I want to tell you, I very rarely feel really cold. And I do have a down duvet, and there's nothing like snuggling that. And by the way, it's like if you find it too cold, what are you going to do about it? You're going to make a plan, right? That's you're smart, Aaron. Don't If being closer to the window would make you happier, make a plan, right? This is your life. You get to live it on your terms. Okay, so Niesha's saying, okay, well, maybe I'll continue to enable others, but now I'm knowledgeable as to their tactics and strategies. Never before had I heard of that word enabling or an emotional pretzel. Never. You see? Jody hadn't either. She didn't know what the pretzel thing was. All right, here we go. The unthankful heart discovers no mercies, but the thankful heart will find in every hour some heavenly blessings. Henry Ward Beecher said that, right? So if you are capable of going through your day, let me give you an example. you know, Jody knows this, and some of you probably know it. I should actually not try to do anything halfway intelligent, before I've had my second cup of coffee. I made that mistake today. Between the first and the second cup, I decided I would. I mix my coffees, right? I buy one cheap coffee can, and then I mix it with a really good quality coffee so that I get sort of the best of both worlds, sort of thing. And I want you to imagine I have one tin that I throw half of this in and half of that in, half of this in, then I mix it all up. Right? So here I am, only one cup of coffee, Jody. Remember that. You need to warn me not to do anything intelligent until the second. But I had the one cup of coffee, and here I am. And I throw in the one lot of coffee, and I throw in the second lot of coffee, and then I go, oh, guess what? The second load of coffee was coffee beans, not coffee ground coffee. So now what I've got is my coffee tin, and I've got a whole lot of ground coffee in it, and I've also now got a whole stack of beans. How many of you would be what would you say to yourself at that moment? Because I just looked at it and I went, and then I remembered to be grateful. And I'm not joking. I literally started to laugh and I went, I am really thankful that I have a sieve, a colander, because without a colander at the moment, I'd be in big trouble. And then I got a big bowl and I put the colander in it, and then I hucked all of the coffee into the colander, and then I shook it until the ground coffee fell through. And then I was very grateful to have solved the problem. But how many of you can see it is possible to change your thinking in a heartbeat if you want to? Because where is the negative thinking going to take you? Nowhere. So choose to be happy and choose to learn. Grind the beans, Sal. It's going to happen after the broadcast, believe you me. All right, Erin's saying contact is the most important thing that anyone can give me right now. Yes, that's what I thought. So that you're not depressed. If I'm not talking to someone or doing so, okay, you get depressed if you're not talking to somebody or doing. Okay, so here's the thing, Erin. I love you, so that goes without question. Would you like some input? Because to me, you are at your happiest when you are using your mind. And so I want you to have a look at that room and really think about, this is what life has given me. This is the deck of cards I've been dealt. How do I turn the By the way, what color is the room? I don't remember it being pink, Erin. So that probably isn't helping you at all. Are you allowed to have the room repainted? Because, we know how important pink is to you. You and Manon. All right, so Nyasha's saying she knew of being caught up in the hamster wheel, which is continuing to do something over and over and over and expecting a new outcome. Exactly, right? Well, and you're so grateful. Well, Nyasha, we are so grateful to have you tell us of your learning, because it makes us feel wonderful to know that we were part of holding your hand through this. And so you're so thankful for this broadcast. So, and I go on and on. I've got to go eat, and Mum is worried. See you all later. I don't want to leave, but I have to. Good. You got to look after your mom. It's important for your relationship. Well done. Keep up the good work. A person who does not have gratitude, when a person does not have gratitude, something is missing in his or her humanity. How many of you have been there? How many of you have been in victim in your lives? I have. I know it's hard to believe now, but I really have been in victim. I I know what that feels like. Yeah, sure. I know what it feels like to be a victim, and I want to tell you, I don't want to be there again. I don't want to give the world that joy again. It's like, I can remember that with one deal that was going down on the house, that they nickel and dimed me to a ridiculous thing, but I kept reminding myself, they only nickel and dime you if you agree to it. If you say no, that is your right, right? And then, the voice in your head says, but you need to sell the house, so maybe you need to say yes. And that was one of the deals that fell through because it wasn't the right deal. And I am so grateful, even though I'm still waiting to sell, I am so grateful that that deal fell through, because every offer I have had since then has been substantially more. You see, and so all this happens for a reason that we don't necessarily understand at the time. The trick is to be grateful when your mood is high and graceful when it is low. Isn't that beautiful? I like that. The trick is to be grateful when your mood is high and graceful when it is low. Okay, so Erin's writing me some stuff here. All right, she's going to write to me and explain it all. Okay, thanks, Erin. I appreciate that. Then that'll help me understand a lot more. Ron Perlman said, I'm thankful for breathing on this side of the grass. Whatever comes, comes. All right. Jody, I am pretty certain that the week prior to your biopsy and the week after your biopsy were very different in your life. All right. And it's just like you had every reason to be scared, stupid, because you have cancer in your background. All right. And yet your biopsy was clear. It was just like, you see, they say 80% of what we worry about doesn't happen. AJ Jacobs said, I've started to look at life differently. When you're thanking God for every little every meal, every time you wake up, every time you take a sip of water, you can't help but be more thankful for life itself. For the unlikely and miraculous fact that you exist at all. Ah, all right. So Erin's giving me a bit more information there. She's saying you. I'm probably wondering why she doesn't go back to her other place. But she said it would take months to do that and be very complicated. So I've chosen to try and stick it out. Um, Her social worker told me, but I've been here long enough to get your chair, which is what you needed, right? You needed your chair. Okay, so that's awesome. And that's one good thing that you've got. Oh, to get your chair fixed. After that, I'll see if I'm still not happy. She will move me again. The places she wanted to go to more, but they could not take me because your chair was not fixed. Okay, so you see, this might be the stepping stone to get where you wanted to go, and with a chair that's fixed. I am so proud of you, Erin, for taking the risk. All right, you took the risk, but maybe you needed to take that risk so that your chair would get fixed. I am very, very happy for you. I've got a feeling this will all unfold exactly as it should. And it sounds like you've got an awesome social worker. Now, for those of you who don't know Erin is incapacitated to a large degree. She has the use of one hand, and she is typing. Or are you talking this into your system, Erin? Yeah, you must be talking to get that much wordage going. But she is so grateful for having a voice that she can talk to her machine and it will type for her. She is so grateful for today's technology that it can do that. She is so grateful, all right, that I understand it and I've seen her and I know what her challenges are. And she's probably pretty grateful that I copy read what she sends to me and try to make the best sense of it that I can. But you know something, Erin? There is no doubt in your mind, I know, that I care. And that is for something for which I am very grateful. You know, it is really important. I feel for some weird reason I was meant to meet you, Erin. And the reason that I keep thinking is you have made such an impact in my life. Such an impact. You will probably never quite understand that. And I've got to say that. You will never quite understand the impact that you had on my life. When I lay down on the bed next to you that day, and then I saw your daddy move you, and I saw how painful that was for you. Boy, I want to tell you, did that make an impact on my life? And the funny thing was, we were all laughing and talking and kibutzing and just acting the maggot and doing all sorts of fun things. But I want to tell you, I think you know of me, I didn't miss very much. And I took it all in and I remind myself so regularly, Erin, when I'm struggling with something, I remember that picture. I go back and go and think what Erin's dealing with right now. And I'm sitting there worrying about how I'm going to do this move. And I go and imagine what Erin had to do to move. Right? And so, Erin, you continue to be a guiding light for me. And I want to tell you, I am sorry that you're not as happy as you'd like to be, but I will tell you one thing. You will continue to be my beacon of light, and you will continue to be somebody that I hold in extremely in high esteem, not self-esteem. I hold you in very high esteem because I know what you're dealing with. And I really appreciate all that you do to live your life the way that you do. And you're still grieving, for goodness sake. So, you're doing awesome, Erin. And if you're staying, paint the room. Abby Jacobson said, I'm so thankful for that struggling period. That time is really great when you have no idea what's going to happen. Tell me about it. Yeah, tell me about it, right? Chuck Berry, boy, that brings back memories, said, I am thankful for each and every day. We never know when our time is up. Wow, that's interesting. Aaron saying, no, definitely you didn't miss a beat. And I was shocked at first, but then I realized that is just who you are. Oh, Aaron, do you mean my ability to talk but have part of my mind processing everything else at a pretty rapid rate? It was, Aaron, it was a skill I learned being a speaker. I was a professional speaker, and it's really interesting that you mentioned that. Huh, okay. And I realized that it was possible. Uh, okay, that's my eyelash. Okay, mouth. And what I realized was when you've got a whole group of people in front of you, and you walk in and you start to talk to people, there was about, if you like, this much of my mind was talking to the people, right? I needed to have that much of my mind concentrating on what I was saying. But being who I am, Erin, and you understand that, there was this other section of my mind that was checking body language. How are they reacting to this? Were they leaning forward, waiting for the next nugget, or were they going, huh? So processing, and that's what we were talking about, right? I'm capable of talking and chewing gum at the same time. I can talk and process pretty in pretty good detail at the same time. And then, Erin, the last bit was, how do I take this, all right, and transfer it into the next thing? Plan B, Jody, all right? How do I take the knowledge of what I'm watching while I talk and then crafting it into what I'm saying? Because I can tell by watching what they're enjoying and what they need. Okay. So Erin's making a very valid point here. Listen to this. That's what she was going to say. Spending about the grief, right? Spending so much time not doing anything has put me in the middle of my grief. I'm not sure I was ready to be there, but it was something you needed to do. Okay. So be grateful to God and say, thank you for trusting that I can do it. Because God must trust you to be able to process it a bit more, Erin. Otherwise, He wouldn't have given you that time. Erin, I don't know if you've ever heard me tell the story about the lady that I met who was a lawyer and ended up in prison on basically a very long sentence. And it was the time that I was donating time to help at the women's prison. And they asked me whether I would go and talk with her because of the way my mind worked. They wanted somebody that would intellectually engage with her. And by the way, Kerry, it's got nothing to do with bits of paper, right? Just so you know. Um, I didn't get much more than a high school diploma myself. My parents wouldn't let me go to university. Uh, what never stopped me from learning. And it's just like the piece of paper thing isn't what it's all about. Anyway, so the interesting thing was that I went to go and talk with her. And what she realized, Erin, what they were fearful of is that she would commit suicide because, somebody with that lifestyle and with everything like that suddenly ending up in prison and likely to be there for some time. That was pretty tough. with whatever she did, it's still pretty tough. And so I went to talk with her and I said to her, I want to know if ever in your life before landing here, if ever in your life you said, I would really like some time to stop and think. Did you ever say that at all? And she said, funny enough, yes. Yeah. Funny enough, yes. Often. I said, well, somebody heard you. Now, we don't like the reason that you're in here necessarily, but you need to see that this is what life has given you, a time to stop and think. Now then, tell me what your skills are other than being a lawyer. Tell me what you enjoy in life, and let's try and work out a plan for you. All right? And I listened to what she said, and I realized she was a natural born teacher. She had computer skills, and she had obviously great writing skills because she was a lawyer. And I said a couple of things. I think if you're interested, we need to get you set up so that you can teach people how to use the computer to the level that you use it, and you can improve your skills. But the problem is getting you a computer, because to get a computer into a prison is extremely difficult. And I said, but I'm prepared to do that. All right. I'm prepared to find you a computer and get it through the system to you. I don't know how long it will take, but it must be doable. And I'm going to do that for you. And I did. I went and found somebody to donate a computer. And then I went to the prison and I said, I know that you need to take this thing apart and do whatever you need to do to make sure there isn't anything in here that needs to be, but this is who it's for and this is why. And it took a couple of months to get that computer cleared, but it did get cleared. And then she was away to the races. She started a newsletter for all the inmates. She started, writing about people and started like an internal news thing. And also she started to teach people. And she said to me sometime later that, if it hadn't been for the discussion that we had, she really does think that she might have committed suicide. And I said, yeah, but don't thank me. Thank the people who called for me to come and talk to you. Right? Somebody knew that I probably could get through to you where other people couldn't. And if they are right, and I think you're saying that they were, then you need to thank this person, because that is the one who made the call to me and said, could you come in? You see, they cared about you that much, and you need to know that. Yeah, Kerry's saying her Aunt Margie didn't graduate high school, and she was the smartest lady that I knew. Yeah, Kerry, exactly. So don't ever say like, I didn't go past high school diploma. That is irrelevant. All right. I have met too many people that didn't get that either and made such a difference in the world. And you know something else, Kerry? I've met so many people that have got more degrees and more pieces of paper in their name than hot dinners, and they are so stupid, right? It goes both ways, right? They have no common sense. They only are book learned. They're not street smart. I personally, really love street smart people because they think differently. All right, Jody wants me to do the countdown because she always does that, right? Thank goodness. I'm thankful for that. Here we go, people. It's getting close. Boom, 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 boom. No, Sal, they don't want to know your fitness level. We want the countdown. I hit the wrong one. It was next to it. Thank you. And now we're waiting for it to populate. There we go. 4 months and 2 weeks to Easter. We have just 111 days to spring, which means we only have 100 more days until the clocks go forward. So good. We have all the way to February until Mercury is back in retrograde, for those of you who understand that. Valentine's Day, you have 2 months and 16 days to work out your Valentine's Day surprise for Mike. Kerry? Christmas is 25 days away now. You already know that. By the way, how many of you have your Christmas cards ready to go in the mail? Excuse me, in the mail for overseas? I am about this close. um, I am one more day will do it. So I'm just about a day behind, but depending on what I do this afternoon, I should be there. And it's with Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is 23 hours, 34 minutes, and 8 seconds away now, the wrong side of it. So we got a year to go. Jody, can you remind me to update Thanksgiving to next year? So the whole point of today is, are you going to work on being thankful every minute of your day, not just because it's November? All right. So Erin is saying, Kerry offered, said that she'd be there, of course, for Erin because they're like sisters. But she says, I know, Kerry, and I'm guessing since I had to move, I'm guessing you also helped me because you know that we feel each other and they're still there. Strong emotion, yes. How many of you feel that you can actually have that connection with somebody? Um, wow. And Erin, you had an anxiety attack when you moved? You know how to stop that, right? Just first of all, do you know what the symptoms were? Because you need to recognize those symptoms, and then the way to stop it is really important. Ah, that's so cute. Kerry's saying, "Yeah, we do, Erin. We have this bond, right? I'm always here for you. You are my family. Yes, and a lot of us feel that way about you, Erin. We might not be able to come visit you, but it doesn't mean we're not thinking about you." All right, so let's make sure we give Erin the support she deserves at this time. And by the way, Erin, it's okay to grieve, all right? Grieving comes in waves, and it's just the next bit of the grieving that needs to happen. And the more you give it the time it needs, the quicker you will be able to carry on. You're not going to ever be happy about what happened to your daddy. Don't get me wrong. But what you will do is you will get less of these anxiety attacks and less of this deep sadness. Anybody who's been through the loss of a loved one will tell you you never ever get over it, right? Just the times that it hits you hard become less and less. Does that make sense? I am sure anybody who has lost somebody will tell you the same thing, which is, hey, I still grieve. It's been 30 years and I still grieve, but it just doesn't debilitate me anymore. I just have that flash where I'm sad, or I have a moment where I even cry, but I can get through it and get on with the rest of my life. Jim Lovell said, be thankful for problems. If they were less difficult, someone with less ability might have your job. Actually, my mummy used to say that, now that I think about it. She always used to say, don't worry about that person. If they were capable of doing a better job, they'd be doing it. So have sympathy. Interesting. Yeah, excellent. So Kerry also has panic attacks, and you know something, Erin, I've had two panic attacks in my life that actually ended me both times in ICU because I didn't know that I was under stress. I really had no idea that I was under stress, but my body was. And it had a panic attack that I didn't know. All I knew is what the symptoms were, and the symptoms were so good. They absolutely were heart attack symptoms. And so in both cases, I ended up in ICU, tied up to all the machines in the world. And I kept saying, I don't think this is a heart attack. And they're saying, oh, we have to prove it. And I'm going, I really don't think this is a heart attack. But, and I don't think I should be holding up a bed in ICU. You know me. It's like, let me out of here. I don't think I should be taking up bed space here. Yeah, let me go in the. I actually remember the last time saying to Yvonne, because Yvonne came to be with me, and I said, Yvonne, tell them they can put me in the passageway so that they can free up this ICU ward. And when the nurse came in, Yvonne rolled her eyes and told the ICU nurse what I had just said. And the ICU nurse looked at Yvonne and said, can you try and explain to her that she actually, the symptoms that she has are such that we need her tied up to every machine? And when all the symptoms die down, then we'll consider moving her to the. And Yvonne said, yeah, I'll try. And I'm going, guys, I'm here. I'm right here. I'm not in the next room. I'm right here. And Yvonne looked at me and said, yeah, but you're not listening. Um, so, Aaron, everything is happening for a reason, right? And just, it's okay. The change, all right? Maybe the change of environment was also part of giving you the space to grieve, all right? Jody's saying, I'm still grieving the loss of my parents, and it's been 30 years for my mom and 20 for my dad. Time does change how the hurt affects your thoughts. It becomes a wound that you live with. Yeah, absolutely. And William Bennett, to close this off, said, sometimes we just need to remind ourselves that thankfulness is indeed a virtue. If you throw the full beans into your ground coffee bin, know that this is not because you are stupid. Be thankful that you can process that and go, it was because I hadn't had my second cup of coffee. I was not awake to check, do I have full beans here or ground beans? All right. And so, what I encourage you all to do is as soon as you feel that negativity coming in, think about, yes, and how can I be grateful? Erin, think about, yes, this room is da 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 da, but how can I be grateful for it? Right? How can I be grateful? Well, it got me the chair fixed, which means I can now do something else if necessary. Or maybe God has me here so I can help other people. You see, I keep looking at it and going, I am sure there is a reason for this that will make sense, Erin. We just don't see it quite yet. Okay? Kerry's saying her dad's been gone for 5 years, and occasionally I have those days that I miss him, even though he hurt me so much. Yeah. And I think that is beautiful that you can still miss him, even though he definitely did some pretty nasty things for you. And that is called compassion, and that is getting your life in balance. Well done, Gary. All right, everybody, have a wonderful afternoon. And we will see you this evening, hopefully for a laugh or two. And I thank you so much for being in my life. You definitely make a difference in my life every day of the week. I think about most of you one way or another. It is amazing. So a big hug. Happy Thanksgiving weekend. And we will see some of you at 7 o'clock Pacific time, and maybe some of you on Sunday at 3:30. Bye bye for now. Thanks for being here.